Welcome back to Old Kiwi Farm with me, your host, and somewhat entertaining entertainer, Looney Farm Guy. Well, as you can see by the clock on the wall, or the calendar in the corner, it's mid-spring. Yeah, it never really warmed up enough to plant anything, actually, in the first day of spring. So here we are, early at 7 o'clock in the morning, in mid-spring. Ground temp is a nice toasty 13 Celsius. Somehow it just popped in there at midnight. It was like 4 degrees, so it's like, eh. And now the ground is warmer than the air temperature, go figure. So we're in this beautiful Class 4000 Xerion with coffee, because I said we're going to plant coffee, hell or high water, and here we are planting coffee. I don't expect to harvest any coffee this year. It's past the planting window for coffee, but this is the experimental part of it. We're going to basically sacrifice excuse me. Well, in order to get it in, we have to plant it at some point, and for it to germinate, it will need to germinate. So, ooh, that's kind of cool. You can see those from outside. Screens light up, kind of neat. Let's get some lights on here. I love the lighting on these tractors. They're probably the best lit tractors in the game. I mean, you got 360 lighting. Yes, and I opted for the extra lighting on the planter too. If that adds to the ambiance, as it were. Let's make sure we're planting coffee here. Millet coffee, there we go. This particular seeder is a direct drill, although we have cultivated. But the bonus part with this, even though it, you can see it goes at 9 miles per hour, not fast enough. And away we go. So coffee it is. We're planting, or seeding, planting. You know my beef with that that terminology. So we're going to, well, do this. We'll do a perimeter, let a worker do the coffee thing. We'll go off, and we have rye scheduled for the other fields. Depending on how closely you're following this series here, we are playing seasons, of course. We are in a very difficult economic situation here now that we have returned to New Zealand here on Old Kiwi Farm. So we're on a hard economy. This is the first time I have tried this. Now, to be honest, when we came back, the scenario here, we have been invited back by a local buyers group, or ownership group, I guess you could say, that had a large parcel of land here at the Old Kiwi Farm. So we started off with a substantial arable land, and although it was left fallow or just left, how you say, deserted for a few years. So there was actually there was some coffee that was left in that one field, which I could, I was gonna use this, take this opportunity to give a little bit of a, shall we say, you know, those episodes where they, those really bad episodes in the series where they go flashback episodes where they go and just like recap what's happened in the past year. So this is kind of one of those flashback episodes. So when we returned, there was a little bit of coffee kind of in the one field, and I knew that, of course, but it was gone. It was not harvestable. There was some coffee in our silo from they did some experimentation, I suppose, or had a coffee. So the coffee was growable here on Kiwi Farm. I know it's available to plant, so that's what we're doing. But I had rearranged a field configuration and just kind of left it till the next year, and lo and behold, coffee popped up. It's like typically is what I understand in the farming world. It's called volunteer coffee. So I didn't plant any coffee; it just voluntarily sprouted and grew. Now, typically when a farmer talks about volunteer crop, it's unwanted because it's in with other crop that has been planted. In this case, this crop was planted before, but I had not planted anything, of course, and I didn't expect anything there, and a full crop of coffee popped up. So we were able to harvest that last year, and we made off quite well. So since we're planting late here, I don't expect to harvest this year because we're planting too late, and it'll grow, it'll come up, but it's not going to reach maturity this year, and basically it will die, and it will from my experience on this in this area with coffee, it will basically disappear. Now that's going to be an expected result. Now, comparing that with what I experienced coming back here, seeing that coffee appear in spring, my expectation is that the coffee will disappear in winter, and then in spring, without me seeding it, it will reappear. So that is the great experiment that we're going to do with these two fields. Now, if that works, that's going to mean our big plan for a coffee empire is going to be somewhat kind of interesting, in the fact that once we plant it, we won't have to replant it. We can harvest it continuously. It will continuously regenerate without having to reseed or replant it. And all that's going to be required is fertilizing. Now that's going to be a bit of a change in the plant in how we operate the farm as well, because up until now we've been using the magical cultivator that cultivates and fertilizes. So obviously that's not going to be an option, because as soon as you cultivate, you're going to basically cultivate in anything that's going to be residual as for crop. So it's not going to regrow, as we've seen when we did the reorganizing of the fields. Wherever I plowed, it was just plowed, and it wasn't, nothing grew there. So yes, so having said that, I do love the turning radius on these things. They're just fantastic. You can do little miniature figure eights everywhere. Sorry. Yeah, so that's the experiment. The experiment is we're going to plant coffee. I don't expect it. So so here's the hypothesis: plant the coffee. It's not going to mature. It's going to die this winter. Next spring, it will regrow early, so that he's hooked me. Oh, okay, there we go. Sorry, I was distracted there. So he's not planting. Yes, so because it was left in the ground, and going to regrow. Come on, plant. So it will regrow early enough that it will mature before winter, and we will get a coffee crop. That is my, you could say, theorem, my theory. Will it? And this is the experiment. So if you've done any, and I did very little in school. The experiment. So you propose an experiment. You basically guess what the outcome is going to be, and then you do the experiment, and then you get a result, and then you compare it with what you thought was going to happen, and then yeah. Other than that, so like I said, I have had very little experience or with that. That's my very rudimentary, basic knowledge of how experiments, at least when I was when I was in elementary school in 1979. 79? Yeah. Or I guess I was junior high, so it would have been 19. Ooh, yeah, 79. A long time ago in a galaxy far away. Anyways, so Rye. So the rest of this we know is going to work, because we're going to look at our planting schedule here. 6 degrees, we're well above 6 degrees. We got the second day of spring, we're within there. We're going to set him off and get back into this guy. Sorry for jumping over, but I'm just going to do that. Okay, let's look at our PDA. Fruit types, there we go. Coffee in the light blue. Growth, it has been planted, not yet germinated. We should see that germinate just fine. We are in mid-spring. We'll be good there. Still a little bit dark. We got the other cedar, broadcast cedar, all queued up. We'll get this guy going. We might as well get them going on this field while we have them. And there we go. All right. Off with you, little fella. Those are helper G and B. They should do well. Let's just run over to the machine shed and grab our other cedar. We will be returning to Riverbird, likely the next episode there, for those of you if you are wondering. I just kind of I was bouncing back and forth between them, just trying to break it up a little bit, but I found that I was getting confused. The lighting on the cedar has lights, or those are just signal lights. Those aren't actual lights. So we got Rye set up here. We're gonna get him and set him off over here. We should do a little. Oh, we got lots of room. It should be okay. I know if the turnaround area is too narrow, the workers don't really like it. We'll get him started off over here. A little bit. We're not gonna end up seeding that spot, but that's okay. There we go. There we go. And who else should we? This guy. Yes, this guy. Oh. He is our horsepower. We should go and just upgrade the other two to the 200 horsepower. Yeah, good lighting on these Kloss vehicles. They know something about lighting. Did we have another cedar? I don't think we bought another one of those cedars. We got the tank. Oh. Those Eurospan cedars are to be somewhat, well, kind of with it, shall we say. It is, rye is a grass. Let's go look at our plan here. It's a cereal. Grass-like cereal, shall we say. All right then. Well, let's go pick up another one of those cedars. And we will make our way. Close your eyes while I cross my field. It is my field, by the way. Yeah. Yeah. Kloss tractors typically have, at least the ones I have very nice lighting. This front tank has extra lights on it too, which is very nice. That'll come in handy on the later evening or early morning seeding. some excursions, shall we say. Let's get that little mini map. There we go. I know it's, I often think it's like, oh, that must be boring watching me drive to these different locations, but I find myself watching other videos and just they're driving across the countryside of some map that I'm, Mr. CLP, of course, always. I don't know why he's just seems to be driving on these stunning stunning landscapes where he's driving across, and you're just kind of like, I could just watch him do that all day. But then again, he had his snow runner thing, and that basically all that snow runner is driving from one location to another, hauling trailers or whatever. And I don't know, just kind of like road trip kind of feel to it. So let's just quickly pop in here into the Cedars, grab one of these Eurospan. This one colors gray, red. I like red. Design color is, I don't even see what the difference is there. Extension, yes, and 36 meters. And there we go. The best cedar in the game, bar none. Not a direct drill, though, mind you. And before we go anywhere, rye. There we go. As a matter of fact, it's probably not rye. It is whiskey, though. Billet, Kentucky. I believe it's a Kentucky whiskey. Quite pleasant to sip on the rocks, or neat, as they say. Either way. So I'm a little bit lubricated, as it were. Speaking of, it's a nice, smooth, nicely flavored beverage. Not harsh, as some tend to be. Yeah, so rye. Rye is, I've talked about rye before. It's used in rye bread as a flour. One of my favorite types of bread. And, of course, in making whiskey, rye whiskey. And here we are. We have arrived at our field. So these little fellas have been gone, made their... Oh, he's... Yeah, see what doing about turning around there. And here we go. Round and round she goes. Where she stops, well, I know. Who else remembers? I'm going off a little bit off the deep end here, but Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark, I believe, is how she was been referred to. It was a late night TV show. I don't even remember. I think it was kind of, she was hosted like a TV show that had There's a bit of a horror, like little horror show shorts, I guess you could call them. Anyways, yes, Elvira, a curvaceous um, lady. Um, but anyways, there was another somewhat similar um, sounding person, a lady on a podcast had kind of a podcast. It was kind of like a somewhat of a similar idea. Quite interesting. Very, very pleasant to listen to, shall we say. It's interesting. I'm listening to. I have listened to lots of podcasts. Just typically, I'd be playing this, and then I'd either listen to music. But I tend to listen to podcasts with so many out there. But right away after the first or second episode, you'd immediately form a a like or dislike about just in general, the podcast in general. But a lot of times it was just the person's voice, if it was pleasant to listen to, or if it was kind of really lots of I can tolerate a little bit of that, generally speaking. When someone's like when they're thinking of a thought and trying to express themselves, but too much of that it gets to be very annoying, and I just like, no, I can't listen to this. Or if the voice is very like squeaky or grating. I hope that my voice is not squeaky or grating or annoying in any way, and unfortunately that's my voice, so I don't particularly enjoy listening to myself either, but I don't think anyone really enjoys listening to their own voice. Mostly due to the fact that the voice you hear when you speak of yourself is transmitted a lot through your jaw, your jawbones and your skull, and what you hear is much different than what you actually sound like to other people, which is, I'm sure, is nothing new to anybody. But that's and then so then when you hear your recorded voice back, it's like, whoa, what's that? Who's that? That's not me. That doesn't sound like me. Who's this person talking? They're saying the words that I said, but it doesn't sound like me. So I think that's part of the real aversion to hearing yourself. Nobody likes to hear their own voice because it's just so foreign. It's like, wow, that sounds... And usually, typically, for me anyways, it's a much more higher pitched. It's like, I think I'm talking like down here, and I'm like... So it's like, oh man, I sound like a wimp. But anyways... let's open that. Let's get some more seeds in here. This thing goes through seeds like an elephant through water. So it's a camel. Perhaps more of a camel would be more of a suitable example. Camels are very interesting. Going totally off topic. Camels are very interesting creatures. There's a parent. Where was it? There was a. Is it somewhere in? Trying to think where there was some camels introduced, and now they're wild. Or feral. They've gone feral in a. I can't remember where it is. They're not. They've gone feral in somewhere in the world. It might be in the United States, but I don't think so. It doesn't sound right. But anyways, camels are very interesting creatures. They can go many days without actually drinking water, as we know, because they store moisture in their humps. And I'm sure it's a lot more technical than that. But the other thing is, when they do encounter water, they can drink a tremendous amount of water in a short period of time. And somehow, store that moisture. But I can't remember exactly how much. It's like several gallons a minute. I mean, they probably drink water faster than you can fill your vehicle with fuel at the normal gas pump. But I've seen cows when they go to drink, they just slurp that stuff up like crazy too. So, yeah. Anyways, going through seed faster than a camel can drink water. There's a new expression. My little friend helper random letter there ran out of seed as well. So I'll have to go attend to him. There he is right there. I'll just I'll get him to jump into this one, and I'll go oh, he's not. Oh, it must be the other one. The one with the John Deere. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, well, let's you go off, do that. I have to sneeze, so I'm going to mute myself for a moment. All right, now that that's done with, let's, yes, he is out of seed. Well, we will have to, well, refill him now. Where are we going? Are we going the right way? No. As the famous line in the movie Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, I quote, "You are going the wrong way," unquote. We'll have to get one of those seed tanks for these guys too, I do believe, because that's going to be beneficial for not stopping so much. Although these things, let's see what they... Oh, go on. Open sesame. There we go. 5,500 liters. That is nothing to sneeze at. Pun intended. But definitely not enough to sustain it through half of this field. So let's get some lights. Not that we desperately need lights, but it is nice. Where did we leave off here? Right here. Get that unfolded. Nice to see our friend Chad there, CBW, getting finding some time to uh, do a little gaming in his busy harvesting schedule. We know that real life farmers are busy this time of year, and justifiably so. Of course, that's their livelihood. Um, it is a different type of deal than the normal working folk. Although he does, have his regular job, his obligations with the pig farm, looking after the pigs. That is a non-stop thing. But the fall time harvest is always a busy time for farmers. Farming is a lot about prep and work, right? So if you're not seeding or harvesting, or spraying or fertilizing, you're kind of fixing stuff, or repairing, like fixing or prepping for either harvest or planting. But there is some downtime between. That's I know my uncle had some cattle and pigs, as a lot of farmers do, because there is a little bit of downtime between the seeding and harvesting, aside from the maintenance and vehicle maintenance stuff, and they tend to do some fishing and hunting. But it's the what we call recreational time. The free time is well deserved, of course. It's not an easy profession. I have never farmed. Like I say, my uncle has he has a farm. He's retired. He's he's still on the farm. Like a lot of retired farmers, they just rent out the land that they own to other farmers, younger farmers, presumably. Whoops, sorry about that. Oops, restart. Anyways, enough babbling. Let's get some lights. We're going to continue seeding. That's pretty much all we're going to be doing is seeding. We'll finish her off here. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I am your host, Looney Farm Guy. Remember, it's just a game, so have some fun with it, or of it. Anyways, till next time, bye for now.